Will fast food workers be replaced by robots? Robots and AI, artificial intelligence, are being implemented in many industries, and the possibility of replacing human operations staff with robots is becoming more and more of a reality. Robots would allow for a significant reduction in labor costs. Considering that the fast food industry has long dealt with critical labor shortages and rising labor costs, this could be a plausible solution, given these challenges are getting worse. Over 560,000 jobs, or 4.6% of the workforce, have been lost in American restaurants since the height of the COVID-19 pandemic. Studies show that the restaurant industry would save over $12 billion annually on labor costs by introducing automation. So, how will robots affect the fast food sector and employment over the next decades and beyond? Hi, and welcome back to another video of Finance Sense, where we cover all the latest trends in the financial markets and the economy. Before we start, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and click on the notification bell to stay updated with our videos. Now let's get to the video proper. At the White Castle branch outside of Chicago, the French fry station is managed by a robot named Flippy. Using its robotic arm and computer vision technology, Flippy can fry a variety of food items, from cheese sticks to French fries and onion rings. White Castle said that it will be putting 100 Flippies in its kitchens all around the country. The White Castle District Supervisor Diana Williams stated, "We used to require 2 workers to operate the French fry station during busy hours, and now we can have only 1 person operate in that area." Jobs in the fast food industry are notorious for being physically demanding, stressful, and even hazardous at times. But robots are immune to these conditions. According to Miso Robotics CEO Mike Bell, the restaurant industry is slightly behind in adopting automation and robots. But several projections estimate the number of jobs that robots may take over through automation. Additionally, robots might potentially replace up to 82% of restaurant jobs. Over $12 billion in wages annually may be saved by automation at American fast food outlets. Furthermore, finding employees is a problem for restaurants. From their pre-pandemic levels, American restaurants have lost around 560,000 jobs, or roughly 4.6% of their workforce. It's estimated that 1/3 of all Americans have first job experience in the restaurant industry, and half have at least some restaurant experience. The economics of this are very attractive, according to Aaron Allen, CEO of Aaron Allen & Associates. If you are earning minimum wage, your annual income should be close to $20,000. That is the price of 1 robot. Other businesses in this field include Picnic, whose robots produce pizza, and Autek, whose machines prepare sushi. So how will robots affect the fast food sector and the means of livelihood for its employees? Miso Robotics began in a garage in Pasadena, California in 2016 with a handful of engineers. 2 years later, the business opened the local Cali Burger restaurant where Flippy was first introduced. Flippy's initial task was to flip a hamburger patty after a human cook had placed it on the grill. But the firm rapidly shifted its focus to fry dishes, launching a portable fryer station for baseball games at Dodger Stadium. Meanwhile, Miso introduced Flippy 2 in 2021, which uses a mounted rail system, artificial intelligence, and computer vision technologies to detect and monitor food as it moves around the structure. Despite having a camera, tablet, and robotic arm, developers claim that the real technology is in the software. According to Bell, the challenge with this device is getting the computer vision, algorithms, plan, cook cycle, and software that controls the robotic movements to all work together in a way that makes it dependable and efficient in its task. Here's how Flippy works. Food is immediately delivered into a basket from the freezer. Then, the food is recognized by the robot's computer vision system and put in the right fryer based on its kind. After the food is finished cooking, a worker bags it before the basket is pulled out of the fryer, shaken, and dropped into a holding area. Chief Strategy Officer of Miso Robotics, Jake Brewer, said, "For those who have eaten in a fast food restaurant, this is the exact same procedure that is currently performed by humans." But what about the price? Under its robot-as-a-service business model, Miso charges restaurants roughly $3,500 per month for Flippy 2. For installation, the business sets an extra cost of around $10,000. In comparison, the typical hourly salary for fast food employees in the United States is only $12.07 per hour. In the US, there were around 1.7 million restaurant employees in 2022. However, Bell continued and said, "But Flippy 2 is different. Flippy Flippy 2 is always at work, and Flippy 2 is currently installed in many 24-hour locations. Flippy never calls in sick. The production of a single Flippy 2 by Miso takes around 6 weeks in Columbus, Ohio. The mechanical arm currently available off the shelf is of the same sort developed for use in car assembly factories. Miso also claims each one costs $15,000, with an additional $5,000 for customization with more grippers and sensors. In order to start manufacturing its arm in 2023, Miso teamed up with a robotic arm manufacturer Ally Robotics. Additionally, the business produces a beverage dispenser called Sippy and a more portable version of Flippy 2 called Flippy Light. In restaurants, Chipotle is presently testing Flippy Light. Flippy Light, according to Bell, is made to cook a single fried dish continuously all day. With around 25,000 shareholders, Miso has amassed crowdfunding of more than $70 million. Furthermore, the corporation has disclosed that it is running tests on a robot that fries chicken wings for the Wing Zone. On the other hand, over 280,000 fast food restaurants exist in the United States alone, making up the $273 billion worldwide fast food sector. Fast food outlets have suffered due to low wages, a decline in the number of youths working, and COVID anxiety. The number of positions in restaurants and hotels surpassed 1.3 million, with more than 1 million openings, and approximately 90% of the jobs are in bars and restaurants. Compared to a hotel concierge who may make over $37,000 annually, the average fast food employee makes roughly $26,000 annually. Diana Williams stated, "Throughout the pandemic, we had several staffing problems, and while things are improving, there are still issues with workers in many places. To help employees, Flippy joined White Castle and took over the fry station. Since it doesn't need a break, the robot prepares meals more consistently." Other issues that restaurants face can be resolved by robots like Flippy. First, working in the fast food industry may be risky. According to one study, fast food employees in California, the state with the largest percentage of fast food workers, experience health risks such as exposure to smoke, overflowing sewage, and intense heat. Before the pandemic, turnover was also a problem for the restaurant industry. According to Michael Bufano, CFO of Panera Bread, the restaurant business had 130% worker turnover. At the same time, low-wage employees accounted for 43% of the U.S. labor force. According to Jake Brewer, Miso Robotics Chief Strategy Officer, when you consider how the restaurant allocates its labor, you can move one employee from one station to another, which results in a monthly profit savings of around $700 to $900. Restaurant businesses have been obliged to raise hourly rates to record highs as a result of another incentive for the positions that are difficult to fill. According to Erica Grosjean, Senior Economics Advisor at Cornell University's Institute for Compensation Studies, the wages have been relatively low in these industries. They're really tied to the minimum wage, so when the minimum wage goes down in real terms, it doesn't keep up with inflation. So those jobs become less and less appealing. Labor is one of the restaurant's largest expenses, with an average cost of between 25 and 30% of sales. McDonald's predicted that by 2024, wages at all company-owned restaurants will average $15 per hour. Moreover, Starbucks announced that the salary floor for American baristas would increase to $15 per hour. One of the reasons why restaurants have been sluggish to adopt automation is that profit margins are often relatively low in this industry. However, this might change since the cost of robots has dropped by half in the previous 3 decades, from roughly $1 million in 2010 to $3 million in 2020. The use of industrial robots has increased thrice in the last 10 years. The market for industrial robots is anticipated to increase from roughly $42 billion in 2021 to $81 billion by 2028. But how will these trends affect Miso's business? According to Bell, robots are difficult to build, and it's expensive to produce them. Getting all the technology to operate together seamlessly requires a lot of effort, resources, and quite simply, a lot of engineers. Miso invested $1.5 million in research and development, $7.8 million in wages, $6 million in sales and marketing, and just over $6 million in overhead and administrative costs. With only one Flippy introduced, revenue in 2021 was only $36,000. Similar to how delivery services transformed the restaurant industry, robot adoption might happen soon. Over $150 billion, or quadruple what it was in 2017, is being spent globally on food delivery apps. And it would be good news for fast food businesses, which already deal with challenges like worker turnover and increased food prices. In 2021, Americans spent $2.1 trillion on food, with more than half of the amount from food takeaways. The tide has turned, said Brewer. And the question is no longer, are robotics coming to the industry? It is now, how quickly and in what form? For the foreseeable future, Bell continued, you will see an increasing number of automation systems like Flippy 2 being used in restaurants, including all the finest brand names around the world. It appears that we have reached the end of this video. Thank you for watching this far. Please subscribe and give a like if you enjoyed this video, and comment your thoughts below. This is Finance Sense, helping you keep up with all the latest trends in the financial markets and the economy. See you next time!